Hello everyone and welcome to Thursday. Today, I finished a game. Which game? I finished Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. So I'm going to give you a little review of it. Now first off, many of you didn't even know that I was playing this, but this is actually the reason I haven't jumped into Pokemon yet. So many people have been more or less nagging me, asking, have you played Pokemon yet? Where are you? Have you beaten it? No, it's actually still in the plastic wrap. You see, I recently played through Super Mario 3D Land. You might remember the vlog where I talked about that. And shortly after finishing it, Mal wanted to play it. And I was like, okay, sure, go for it, because she saw how much fun I had with it, and she's a fan of the Mario games as well. So she jumped into it. And we had Pokemon X and Y, like, the next day or something, but I decided that, I wanted to start Pokemon with her. So I decided to jump into Luigi's Mansion instead, and I am glad I did. Now, if you haven't played the original Luigi's Mansion, first off, you're missing out. But second off, it's a little different. It's set up just a little bit differently. The biggest difference is that in the original Luigi's Mansion, there's one mansion. The game is not terribly long, if I remember correctly, which it's been years, so I may not be remembering correctly, but I think it's about a 7-hour game or so. But it takes place in one mansion, which means that you're going to be moving around the mansion. You actually become very, very familiar with the layout of the mansion by the end of the game, and you're also going to be doing a lot of backtracking. Now, in the sequel, in Dark Moon, it's a little bit different because instead of one mansion, there's actually worlds. There's actually 5 different mansions. And apparently there's also multiplayer and some other features that I never tried out, but I'm just going to be talking about the single-player experience. There are 5 different mansions, and there are levels. So there might be certain sections of the level that aren't available to you that you won't be able to get to until another level. Now, if you complete certain things in a level, whenever you finish that level, you have access to go to the next level, and it's still in the same mansion, but things that you acquired in that first level, that you already took care of them, so you don't have to get them again. It's a little hard to explain, but basically it's a twist on Luigi's Mansion because there's actually levels, and it's kind of nice because it's a portable system, which I'm guessing that's why they did it. So instead of having one huge mansion that you have to remember everything about every time you sit down, all of the levels take about 20 to 30 minutes to complete, so it's perfect for, sitting down, bite-sized content for a portable. I found it very pleasant to play, either as soon as I woke up or as I was going to bed, or more than likely on the toilet, where I actually do a whole lot of gaming on the 3DS. But it was fun. It was a whole lot of fun. There was some new concepts introduced. I was waiting for some old concepts to shine through, and they kind of do them in different ways. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just a really good game. And at first, the controls were a little weird because you can't control, I guess, you can't control the vacuum as easily. Like, you can't just, point it up and around the room. You use buttons to either point it up or down, and whenever you start using your, you can use it with the flashlight too, the flashlight or the vacuum, you can kind of actually, like, physically move the 3DS to look around a little bit, but that got confusing. Anyway, about 15 minutes to 20 minutes into the game, I got used to the controls, so it wasn't a big deal, but there was a weird little learning curve at the beginning there. But it was fun. It was just really fun. If you were a fan of the original, even if you haven't played the original, I would recommend it. If you're just a fan of Nintendo games in general, I think that you would like it. I haven't checked any Metacritic scores or anything like that, so I don't know how well it did with the critics, but as for me, I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed Super Mario 3D Land. I mean, Nintendo's offerings are usually pretty good, but especially on the 3DS, seem to be really strong. That viewer who sent in Luigi's Mansion also sent us a few other games. The next game I'm probably going to dive into after Pokemon, is Fire Emblem Awakening. That was a game that I was actually considering purchasing, so it's a game that I would really like to play. I haven't played any of the Fire Emblem games except for the first North American release, which was for the GBA, and I loved it. I thought it was a blast. So it'll be fun to actually play another Fire Emblem game, especially because there's been a lot more in the series that I've missed, so, and I've heard good things about Awakening too. So if you've played Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, let me know what you thought down below, and if you haven't played it, or if you've maybe been considering it, maybe my review has helped you in some way, or maybe some of the comments down below can help you as well. Once again, fantastic game. A little short, I guess, if you want to call it that. It took me about 12 hours, and I did take my time For example, levels can take like 15 to 20 minutes if you go and do the goal, but every time you can re-explore the rooms you already took care of in the previous levels, and if you do, then there's more cash. There's also an element of continuing to build up. There's power-ups, so you're earning money throughout the game, and you can actually spend that money on power-ups. Like after you get a certain amount of money, you get a new thing, and it's paced really well, because I got the final power-up, which you need $20,000 for, around the beginning to middle of the last mansion, which is the 5th mansion, and it was really good. Oh, and one other thing I definitely have to praise for, the game felt a little easy when I was playing it. The game felt pretty easy going through the levels, and then I got to the first boss, the boss of the first world, and man, I was really impressed with what they did with the bosses, and it was like that time and time again on the boss battles. They're just really creative, hard, just because you have to figure out what to do. It's not straightforward, like, you know, oh, we're going to have to do this, and we'll hit this guy and do this. No, it was actually very involved, very unique, very cool, and it was like that throughout the entire course of the game. And right near the end, in the last hour, maybe hour and a half, the difficulty ramps up like crazy. So, I don't know. That was a little off-putting, I guess, because I had kind of just went through the game without very many problems, and then all of a sudden, you know, I'm running out of time to do one thing, and like I'm having trouble with this or that, and I actually beat the final boss of the game with 5 health remaining, which is the lowest amount of health you can hold on to. At least I think so. Anyway, so that's my review. I loved it. If you have other nice things to say about it, put them down below. If you have less nice things to say about it, it's fine. Put it down below. And talk about other good 3DS games. Like I said, we're going to be working on Pokemon X and Y next, which will take us God knows how long. But then after that, I think I'm going to play Awakening, because I've been looking forward to playing it. Oh, and since I am done with Luigi's Mansion, and this is still in the plastic wrap, I guess I can do some kind of ceremonial thing on the vlog where I actually put it into the 3DS. Done. Anyway, that's going to be it for today, so thank you so much for watching, and as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we? First things first, YouTube has a new comment system. Some of you are very familiar with it already, but probably not familiar enough. Hi, fellas. How's it going? I really wish, really wish that I had my better gun here.